Welcome to I Am Undefined Art Talks. My name is Taisha Harrison, and I am a creative entrepreneur and artist in Phoenix, Arizona. I wanted to join forces with inspiring, talented creatives across the world. I wanted to bring you candid conversations with influential visionaries whose story of living their purpose will empower you and inspire you to live your highest, truest self. Our first guest is JL Rayne. JL Rayne is an illustrator and traditional artist currently located in San Antonio, Texas. She is a self-taught artist and continues to hone her skills daily while enrolled in the Milan Art Institute Mastery Program. She is currently a staff sergeant in the United States Air Force and feeds her creativity daily. After her time in Japan, she rekindled her love of the arts and began drawing as a stress reliever from her daily military tasks. One day, she aspires to be a full-time artist after fulfilling her commitment to the military. Now, a couple of things about JL Rayne. She specializes in exploring the female form and enjoys experimenting with new themes and challenges into her pieces. Her paintings can be described as abstract realism with colorful self-expression. Now, let's bring on JL Rayne. JL Rayne, when did you discover your love for art?
So I've always been creative as a kid. If you were to ask little me what she wanted to be when she grew up, she would always say artist. My family was always supportive of it. But you get older, and obviously before Milan Art Institute, I think the whole stigma was you can't make a living from it. So I was like, okay, well, I think I'm just gonna join the military because I really don't have any other plans of what I'm gonna do. So I still currently am enlisted, and I traveled for a while. I traveled and I moved to San Antonio as my most recent and current duty station. And I get here and I don't have any friends. I don't have family. And I just got really, really depressed. And I kind of had to be my own Superman. I kind of had to bring myself back up. And that's what really brought me to start painting again and start being creative. And there's no other medicine like it. There was nothing else that really just made me feel like myself again. But I would say what I represent, I think, is like self-empowerment. I know I used to paint a lot of women. I didn't know why. I just wanted to paint women, just wanted to paint really pretty things. And I really didn't have like a style yet. I didn't know why I was painting until I kind of started like my spiritual journey, and I really started like dig deep in myself and kind of figure out who I am as a person first. I think that's important before you can figure out who you are as an artist. Like who are you as a human being first? And I think just so important to be positive and to just kind of uplift yourself, but not only yourself, like other people around you, because it's like a cyclical thing. It's, you know, you give what you get. You get what you get. But, yeah, but very much self-empowerment. Because one thing my mom always told me, and has like resonated with me since I don't know when, she would say, no one's going to take care of you like you take care of yourself. So if I wanted something, it was me and get it. So definitely that whole female empowerment thing, and just sticking to your guns. If you believe in something and you want to be a particular person, by all means, go ahead and go for it, regardless of what anyone else thinks.
Right. That's so amazing. That's so amazing, because it kind of sounds similar to the Screen Project. When I search, fearlesspaints.com is JL Rayne's website. When I looked at it, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like a reflection. I need to get to know her even more. Not only that, the colors in your paintings, I'm like, Oh, I just love, because I love like that blues, the purples, and the pinks. But what you stand for, that's the reason why I wanted to dig deeper as to like who you are, and why you're an artist, and want to like basically learn and have other people learn from you as well. But that sounds like an amazing, like, so you were self-taught because you wanted to get out of depression. I used to be depressed many years ago, and there were 7 components that helped me, that spells out scream, and art is one of them. And so like that's a prime example that art really does heals, or even keep you at that level of, I guess you can say, like stable, like whenever I am down, I always go back to the creative side, like that always gets me out. Would you say the exact same thing?
Absolutely. I think just because I mean, growing up, like we're like, hey ma, can I dye my hair purple? And she was all for it. Like she was all for me being myself and kind of expressing myself in that way. Because I'll tell you what, I was the only person at school like me, and I was weird. And when I was younger, I would like draw and stuff, and I did a little bit like through high school. But I think high school, my creative side was more like makeup, and I'm not talking like what you see now. I mean, I was rolling up to school with like leopard print, and it was weird, but like it looked right. I
Right.
did top and like purple hair with like blue streaks. So that was my like form of creativity, and I loved like the attention I got. Like, oh my god, I love how you did that. I love those colors, and I've just always been like drawn to colors and just being myself and being creative, because that is ultimately how I think personally people can kind of get out of their own heads, is when they just
Right.
kind of get crazy and just start playing paint around. It's just self-expression. I think a lot of people when
Right.
they're depressed, they hold a lot of in, and I think if they were to just let it go, let it out in one way, shape, or form, then they ultimately be creative and be able to feel a lot better.
So as far as your mentors, did you ever have any mentors to help you guide? I know you've done the self-taught thing. You've just basically like the human expression, like you said, like the art and soul of human expression. That's what it seemed like you are, like if you feel it, you're definitely going to do it. Now, have you ever had any mentors to guide you? I know your mom is very important, plays a huge role, I'm sure. Do you have any other mentors?
Um, I think as far as mentors, I think you need to admire someone for a particular like style or something along those lines. And as much as I like admired different artists and kind of their own different takes on things, I mean, I had like an illustration phase where I would just like draw mermaids, and then I had like just different weird phases that I was kind of getting into, but they didn't really like feel right.
Okay.
Uh, but as far as like personal mentors, I haven't really like found anybody yet. It really wasn't until the Milan Art Institute. So I started off with a couple of like the mini classes, and girl, I bought them all. I bought them all, and then I blew through them, and I rewatched them, and I'm like, I can't get enough. Like I need to
They're
continue
amazing,
learning. So, girl, I fell in love with it. And I'm like, okay, like I just saw all of this improvement, like forcing out these bad habits and building new ones. And I'm like, I want to know how Demetra does that
yes,
Photoshop thing where things just you know what I'm talking about.
right,
But I mean, her as well as Ellen, I think that mother vibe, I definitely admire her as well. Just she's like, if you want it, go get it.
right.
Again, very much reminds me of my mom. But those two would probably be like the closest as far as like art mentors, because if anything, I'm usually the only creative person in like my friend group.
Right.
So personally, I have a mentor like that other than the Milan Art Institute. Correct?
Give the Milan Art Institute a shout out. They are amazing. All the coaches. You guys should definitely check it out. It's the MilanArtInstitute.com. That's the program that JL Rayne and I are going through currently, and they are amazing. Who's your coach?
I actually didn't spring for the coach. I'm kind of hard headed, and I'm a little on the side. So it took me a while to even like get into the course because I'm like, that's a lot. But then after those mini courses, I'm like, I got to do it. But I mean, before COVID, I knew I'd be traveling a lot. So I didn't think that having a coach and actually doing things by the timeline would really be worth the extra point. But right now it's just kind of like the standard one. And I just kind of hope and pray that I'm doing it right and I'm not messing anything up. Lots of trial and error for sure.
Like, your pieces are amazing. Like I said earlier, like the colors, like I just love them. I'm like, oh my gosh, her colors are so vibrant. So what do you use in your art piece? It's mixed media, right? Do you use a lot of inks? What's your process?
So before I used to kind of just be whatever I wanted. It used to be like a single medium, like maybe one or two. And I was using like really crappy oils. It wasn't until, you know, I started the program, but I'm like, okay, maybe the cheap oils aren't really the oils I need because they're, you know, synthetic and they're fake, you know, they're not going to be as, you know, the pop of color.
Right.
But the first mini course I took was the mixed media one. And I swear I watched that thing like 5 times and I'm like standing until 2:30 in the morning. I'm like, how she went from 0 to 100
real quick.
And I'll have to stop. Yeah, so I would rewatch that. So I've really been trying like the mixed media. So I would kind of just lay my canvas down flat, kind of do some scribbles with those little ink bottles with those little squirt nib things, spray water, just kind of mix it all around, let it dry, and then I would do like another layer. I've recently tried alcohol ink, so kind of has that like splatter effect where it kind of like disintegrates around. It's such a cool effect. So I've been getting a little crazy with those. And that's how I came up with, I don't know if you can see it, this piece behind me. Such cool effects that have like really, like they'll stay because it's like a permanent marker type of ink, but it'll still drip a bit. And it's such a cool effect. And then I'll do an oil layer on top. I find that once I do the mixed media part, the oil part's a little easier and it's a lot less intimidating. So that's normally what I've been doing lately. But this piece right here, not sure if you can see it, is one I started working on today. So I kind of try to be a little, here's a piece I started working on today. It's still, there we go, it's still a little wet. But this is all inks and paint markers. So I just sketched it out with like pink marker because graphite kind of smears. And if I do graphite and then do everything else, it'll just kind of smear and it'll get really gross. But just mixed media. But I think once I started doing my, I gotta clean my hands. Once I started doing my source making and started sticking to it, then things came out a lot better because if I just started putting every color up there that I liked, it would be a rainbow. But I mean, sometimes it works because then I came up with this rainbow piece with this couple right here, and I'm like, well, it's rainbowy, I dig it, and I'm not gonna touch it because then I'm gonna ruin it. So.
No, it's beautiful because you have, it's not like the whole thing is like different colors. You only have bits and pieces, so it makes sense. That piece to your right, that's beautiful. Now, as far as like the collection, so right now you're currently doing the self-image series. What inspired you to create that collection?
So a lot of my pieces more or less are, I think what a lot of artists say is like a reflection of themselves and, you know, kind of either how we see ourselves or how we want to see ourselves. If we're down, we kind of want to see ourselves like uplifted. We want to see ourselves as like strong and capable to kind of get through the things that, you know, every person kind of goes through in life. And I think one of the ones that I kind of ignored is the body positivity. And I mean, we would be lying if we said, you know, we didn't look in the mirror and we weren't happy with ourselves some days. I mean, we have good days and bad days. I mean, I'll tell you what, right now in this COVID, like I'm packing on the Cheetos pounds right now. And
it doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like it.
Because I cut the camera off. but, you know, we are all built differently, and it really goes back to like the spirituality I told you about earlier. I believe that we were all put on this planet for a reason. We were all put here, you know, completely differently. I don't know, my grammar's not working today.
No, it's perfectly fine.
But
I totally get you.
we're all different. We're all put here for a purpose, and we were all here to experience very specific lives. You know, I believe in previous lives. You
I
know,
do too.
maybe previously you were a king, and then maybe, you know, this time around, you know, you're a poor dude living under a bridge, you know. And I think that we all have to kind of experience all the different types of pain, one of which being, you know, that low self-confidence. And we're all guilty of, you know, feeling that sometimes, even if maybe we portray that we're super happy and you're, you know, that you're really happy with how you look. A lot of times we go home and we chill on Instagram and we start scrolling and we're like, well, I thought I felt cute today, not anymore, you know. But the body positivity series, one of which is up here to my right.
Okay.
I mean, if we look at older art pieces and like Greek mythology, I mean, Aphrodite had roles, like she had it going on, and she was the goddess of love and beauty, you know. And I think as a society, we change how we see beauty. Like we just kind of pick and choose, you know, how we want to feel that day. Because before it used to be, you know, super pale with like thin eyebrows. Now it's like, get your tan on, you got the thick eyebrows. But I think in one way, shape, or form, we are all beautiful, women especially. And one thing I really wanted to show off in this body positivity series was stretch marks. Now, granted, I'm not a mom, so I don't have stretch marks, but I mean, this piece has to be my favorite to date. Because it's, some people might think it's a bit much, but I mean, I think it's beautiful. I think, you know, if we all just learn to accept that, that's normal.
Right.
It's not normal to not have stretch marks. It's not normal to be perfect. So why we continue to strive to be not normal is beyond me. But that's what that body positivity collection is about. I wanted to, for one, knock out a bunch of paintings in one sitting. So I kind of did mixed media, let it dry, another one, and I kind of just went crazy. And before I knew it, I was done. I was like, wow, I have this collection of 6 beautiful women that may or may not personally feel beautiful. You know, the sources are women that look similar to it.
Think beauty is. And what you're doing is you're challenging that. Because in this world, there's 98% normal what you have in the background compared to the 2%. And like all of it is beauty. And like what you were stating, I like to call it being undefined, because we may look similar or whatever, but we have a unique personality. We need to like embrace it. And so we're uniquely undefined. Like there's no box, there's nothing. Like we're spirit. I'm very spiritual. I think of like law of attraction and things like that. That's why we're like connected. We're connected. Like, listening to you, I'm like, yes, that is the person I want to hang out with. Like only if you lived in Arizona.
I will talk your ear off about that. I will get so moved on you.
Yes, but like what you're saying, that is extremely, like, that's something that I would want to be part of. And you know, I asked you about, you know, connecting with other artists. Like that would be amazing if you connect with other artists and like just do this. I will help you. Like let's do it together. Like totally, because people need to see that. There's a lot of people who contact me and they say certain things, and that's what inspires me to keep going with being vulnerable. Sometimes it's not easy to be vulnerable and like put like, full transparent, because words can do a lot. I'm that too, but
no, yes. I am too. Like if I see somebody who's like really upset, at one point I took a trip in the military to Virginia or something, and we did a weekend trip to New York, and I saw this really sad dude on the train, and he was just
oh my God,
miserable. And I had to get up, and I'm like, are you okay? Like, you know, and you know, I just kind of with him, and he was like, thank you, like you made my day. And like I feed off of that. When I make other people happy, like I'm a clown. I'm holding back a lot right now. So I'm going to
Don't hold
But I'm
back.
like clowning when it like
back.
just that. Ooh, nope. Be careful what you ask for. But when I bring other people up and I kind of joke around, like it brings other people up and then it brings me up.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you saw, but on Instagram, I think I took it down. But I was just bored one day and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go back to my makeup artist roots. And I made my face look like Joe Exotic, the Tiger King, and I went on to my work meeting like that, and they loved it. They were cracking up. You know, that boring meeting just got a little more entertaining.
Right.
And, you know, I kind of feed off of that stuff. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's what I'm if everybody can be like that, that would be so amazing. You know, we try to cover up some things. We don't want to offend anyone. We don't want to make other people uncomfortable. I had individuals like, you know, behind the scenes tell me that I'm like, what is it called? Overachiever. But the thing is, I'm not an overachiever. I'm just doing me. You know, like I'm just being, I'm just living, I'm challenging myself. But like that stigma of, you know, like one person is above than the other is like, to me, no, we're all individuals. There's no competition. If you really think about it, it's not competition because we're each our individual self. There's no competition in body or anything like that. It's just the way that you see it. It's how you view the world. It's how you view that other person, which makes you think that it's a competition, but it's not, you know? So I love supporting other artists because if that other artist is successful, like that makes all of us successful. Like people are gonna be like, oh my gosh, like let me support this artist. And like that artist was so awesome, support this. And it's just a snowball effect in a good way. And so body positivity, like continue that. And I would love to join you on that and help push that because I think that that's very important, especially if we could, you know, have people say poems about it and create a virtual exhibition since we're all under this, you know, the COVID, our current situation is what I like to call it. You know, bringing the positivity back into the world and being able to accept all body types is beautiful. And that's what you're showing there. Now, as far as someone who is struggling, you know, speaking about body positivity, struggling with them, what are your words to those individuals? Or do you have any words of encouragement?
I think with any like difficult situation, what helps me and what I like to tell other people is, you know, it could be worse. You know, not to say that you should compare your situation with someone else and be like, oh, well, they have it worse, you shouldn't worry. By no means is that what I'm saying. But I mean, someone has been in your shoes before and they've conquered it. So it's not to say that it's impossible because it has been done before. There have been plenty of people who either had a lot of weight and wanted to lose it and did. Others were like, this is me, take it or leave it, whatever works. You know, I think as long as you're just taking care of yourself and allowing yourself to live a long, healthy life, if that's what you choose. Like I said, we're all put on this planet to, you know, have different lives. As long as you're happy, by all means, when you're old and your deathbed, I like to think about that. Like if I'm old, like if I make this decision right now, will I regret it? Or will I regret not taking this chance? Because I know when I'm old, I'd want to be like, yeah, I made a bunch of stupid decisions, but hey, at least I never laid in bed at night like, what if? So as far as anybody who's having like body positivity issues, I mean, we all have it. I would suggest, you know, for one, delete Instagram. I actually had to delete a bunch of accounts because it was just making me feel like crap. And, you know, as beautiful as those bodies are, you know, and you know, Barbie like or whatever, you know, the Kim K booty, you know, JLo still don't even look 50 type of thing, you know, it's unrealistic, you know, and I had to delete a lot of those accounts because, you know, I'd be having a great day and I'd see and I'm like, well, my mood just, you know, plummeted. So first of all, just try to not let society kind of kind of like push it out, like observe it, acknowledge it, but you don't have to let any of those other views into yourself. So delete those accounts. Yes, she may be pretty and she may have, great makeup or whatever, but you don't have to kind of compare yourself. And I think that's one of the reasons why I love the art community so much versus the makeup art, the makeup artist community, because that got catty so quick. It used to be such a nice community at first, like love yourself, make yourself feel beautiful, to, who can, paint different weird, crazy things on their face. And now it's, how can I go viral? I'm going to dust Cheeto dust, Dorito dust on my face. At one point people were drawing like phallic objects as eyeliner, and just really, it's just, they wanted to go viral. It wasn't about the beauty anymore. With the artist community, you're like, oh my God, I love their work. And deep down, maybe kind of want to copy it. But at the same time, you love somebody else's work who's completely different. And you're like, I just want to hang all of their stuff up on my wall because they're all uniquely you. And you just don't, I personally don't think you get that with the makeup community. And that's what a lot of people are looking towards as far as like beauty, and what to kind of compare themselves to. Because I'll tell you what, when I was doing my cheetah print, makeup wasn't popular, so I was the outcast.
Right.
But now I got people who I haven't spoken to in years who are like, hey, what brand do you use? And I'm like, leave me alone. But definitely just a way better. But surround yourself with people that kind of empower you and bring you up. Because if you surround yourself with, those Debbie Downers, who kind of bring you down, who don't kind of push you to be a better version of yourself, what are they there for then? So delete Instagram, surround yourself with good people, and just let only what you want in. You can choose to block out all these negative vibes, if you will.
Yes.
You can block out, what was it? Hater blockers?
Right.
I'm bringing it back. But, stuff you don't want, that you don't need, because as soon as you stop caring, you'll be so much happier. Man, when I stopped caring,
no, that's the truth. It is free. Like attracts like. If you're negative, you're gonna attract that energy. If you're positive, you're gonna attract that energy. So we're all energy based, and we're all connected. We're all one, I like to say, and the philosophers like to say as well. We're all one. So surround yourself, like you stated, surround yourself around the people that are going to make you feel great. When you feel great, obviously you attract the greatness. So how someone can express themselves through art, like even if they don't like feel very artistic, like for you being a self-taught artist and now, attending Milan Art Institute, what was that point, that brush to the paper, that brush to the canvas? When you're first starting out, you have this sense of, I'm not an artist. Like, what am I doing? Like, so what is your words for those who want to be like, participate in some type of art?
I would say, don't take yourself too seriously. Because I know when I sit in front of a blank canvas and I'm like, I want to make something great. This is going to be my next, big thing, and it's going to be my next art print. It's going to go on my website. When I put all that pressure on myself, I'm like, but if you just do it because it's fun. When we look back to kindergarten, they gave us finger paints, they gave us the crayons. They were like, all right, go get creative. And then somewhere along the way, as we get older, it kind of stops, and I think we all need to nourish that creative bone in our body, because whether you're an artist, a construction worker, an inventor, I don't care what it is, you need to have some type of creativity. If you want to make new ideas and kind of like innovative ideas, you have to think outside the box. And I think being creative, or at least having a creative hobby, whether it's painting or gluing popsicle sticks together, like I think if you kind of just work that muscle, not only is it like therapeutic, but it really, I think, helps you in like other aspects of your life as well. And I think the one thing I hate hearing is, oh, I love your work, I can't even paint a stick figure. And I'm like, I swear to God, if I hear this one more time, like, I think everybody can be creative. Like, everybody can do an abstract. Come on.
Right.
I actually had this one friend, and I told her, like, girl, get yourself a hobby. Like, go ahead, let me teach you how to paint. And she finally gave in, and we did like a simple little like pink and blue sky with like a moon, and hers came out way better than mine. I was like,
What?
okay. You know, I mean, she's super excited. I don't know if she'll stick with the hobby, but I think everybody has their capability to be creative. I actually got my boyfriend to finally, like for 2 years, I finally got him to be a little creative, and now he's taken up photography. So,
Okay.
I mean, I think everybody has that capability to be creative, and I think it just really helps. Just let loose, get messy. You don't have to sell it, you know. You can just hang up in your house. It doesn't have to be good. No one has to see it. You know, they kind of think of it like, you know, a live video broadcast versus like a diary. Like, just it's something that's yours, it's personal to you, and you can stick it under your bed if you don't like it, or paint over it. You know, it's just practice. It's just for the sake of creating. Now, if somebody wants to buy it, that's a bonus, and then you can go buy, you know, more stuff you don't need at Michael's, like I did today. Um, but you know, just kind of nourish that creativity. I mean, you could cross stitch. I've seen some really cool things with that.
Yeah.
Spray, you know, chalk. I've seen some really cool things with that. There's so much you can do, and I don't think you should be limited at all just by your own mentality. If you say you can't do something or you can do something, either way, you're probably right. So I think whatever you stick your mind to or set your mind to, that's the outcome that you're going to get. So
Say just push through that, because eventually a beautiful piece that you dearly love will come. Now, as far as this year, do you have any events that's coming up that the viewers should know about?
as of right now, I've really just been taking advantage of like this time at home. Um, because I think when you practice, you get better the more you actually work at it. And I've been like 9 to 9, like 9 to 5, just painting all day.
Nice.
But I mean, right now, what you want to call this current situation, everything is closed. I've tried to like find like different art events, because I did a few just like small neighborhood events like a year or two ago, and I'm like, let me try to look back into those now, but obviously everything's closed, so I can't really like project what's going to be going on. Right now, it's just if I'm home, I'm painting, and I'm going to take advantage of this time before I have to go back to work, or I'm going to be miserable because, you know, I got a taste of what it's really like to be a full-time artist, and I'm like, oh my God, I love it. I'm just so happy. But right now, it's day by day, because that's what the rest of the world is doing. But I think definitely the next step would be doing body positivity collaboration with a few artists.
Okay.
So maybe like figuring that stuff out. And in the future, I've dabbled into the idea of creating an exclusive artist, I don't want to say club, but kind of like art auctioning with very specific, yeah. So kind of auction off those things, and each month will be like a different prompt, and then viewers will, you know, go ahead and kind of place their bids on those. So
You would select the artist, right?
yes.
So you would select the artist. So if any artist is interested, once this is up and running and JL Rayne has it up and running, please contact her, and she'll give you like the details. But no, that's amazing, because you're also helping the other artists that's also part of that as well. You know, getting their work out there and like potentially selling their artwork. So that's super cool. As far as the body positivity collection, I want to see more of that. I think that can be a movement.
I think I'll definitely have to continue. I figured I'd kind of like stop the series, but now I've got some ideas kind of flowing. And one thing I truly believe is that, you know, you meet people for a reason, whether it's a good reason or not. I think we're either a teacher or a student of someone in one way, shape, or form. And I think we can all just kind of learn from each other. And I don't think anything happens on accident. I think everything happens for a very specific reason, whether for us to learn something or just experience something different. But I mean, I'm super glad I met you. I'm super glad I came across your website. And I'm so happy with the first one and your interview, because I didn't
My first
realize that until you said it yesterday, and I was like, oh, that's a lot of pressure. Well, I'm super excited so much for having me. I'm so grateful. I mean, You've been awesome. And now, like, offline, we're about to start talking like what I like to call spooky stuff, because I don't like to call it anything else, like spiritual or spooky, but we can definitely talk some spooky stuff offline.
Yeah, definitely. So is there anything before we end this call? Is there anything that you would like to say to the viewers? If you can also mention your website, your Facebook, how they can reach you as well.
But you can go to fearlesspaints.com or go to fearlesspaints@gmail.com, and TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. I may not be super active, but they're all Fearless Paints. But you can just type that into Google and all my accounts should come up.
Awesome. You guys should definitely check out JL Rayne. She's amazing. Fearlesspaints.com, and then all the social media as she stated. And thank you so much, JL Rayne, for doing this podcast, or interview, I should say. I don't like to say podcast because it's like my first one and I want it to be casual and just go with the flow. Thank you so much for being a guest with me today.
All right. Thank you so much. Bye.